The following podcast contains adult content. It is not suitable for minors, professional settings, or the faint of heart. Welcome to FOREPLAY Goes South's About Last Night, a reoccurring monthly episode in which I take a story told on the stage last night's live event and release it the very next day.
Hello. I heard about this wonderful event about 2 days ago. So I had no idea this was a thing. I moved here about 2 years ago, but my job kind of dominated my life, so I was just now getting back into the scene, getting some apps, getting on FetLife. But I see that a lot of you guys, this is like your normal gig. You come here, you've been practicing your stories. I was trying to recall some of the things that have happened to me, like on the fly. So none of this has been rehearsed, but some of you guys have stand-up comedy skills, and I'm literally shaking right now. So I'm gonna sit so that I don't fall over. Okay, so are any of you guys from the mountains? I got two. How about any of you from Virginia? Yeah, one. Okay, so I am both from the mountains and from Virginia. So the two of you guys combine your brains and relate to me. So if you grow up in the mountains, you get used to mountain culture, which is simultaneously a little bit rural, a little bit hippie, it's like its own beast. Think of if Bigfoot was a culture. That's mountain culture. You're both skeptical of outsiders, but you're growing pot too. And if you walk onto the wrong person's property, you're either gonna get shot or they're gonna give you liquor they made in a bathtub. And that's the group of people I grew up around. And so in the mountains, there are lots and lots of caves. And if you like holes, you usually end up becoming a caver. So I went into caving because I'm a white person, so I like extreme sports that risk my life, and I have no sense of fear or self-preservation. I just like risking it, and that's what makes me feel alive. So I got into caving, which is okay, and not oh, Luray Caverns, there's lights and it's pretty and I've got a handrail and a guide. This is I'm crawling in a hole so small I feel like I'm being birthed a second time. I feel very close to Mother Earth right now. So close that it's stabbing me in the ribs, and I need to move or else I'm gonna start bleeding. So I got into caving, and caving is actually really, really intense. If you wanna get certified in caving, it's like getting certified in scuba diving, where you have to log so many hours and it becomes a huge part of your life. If you're also kind of kinky, then you're well, I put all this time into this skill, I might as well use it. So for those of us in the mountains, and again, we're kind of weird people, it doesn't take long for a group of cavers to be you want to try to bone in a cave? But caves are not conducive to romantic environments. Yes, it's dark, but it's pitch black. It's cold. There's things cold things dripping on you and things jabbing you, and not the things that you want to be jabbing you, but actually uncomfortable rocks and stuff. So it was pretty common that you'd go on a trip, you'd bring a couple friends, and after you've had sex in a cave once, this story isn't about sex in a cave, I know, that's what you were hoping for, but honestly, those are pretty lame stories because you're done in 30 seconds. You're you know what, this was a bad idea. Let's not do this. So what would often happen is you and your boo would let your friends go into the cave and you would hang behind and you would just fuck at the entrance to the cave and pretend it was you're in the cave. Because you're still at the precipice of a cliff, right? Because you tie the rope, your friends go down, and you're guys, we'll be down 20 minutes. Give us 20 minutes, we'll be there. The problem is because you're thrill seekers, you want to get as close to the edge as you can. Because the closer you are to death, the hotter it is. We didn't fall in. I'm alive. he's alive. But, you know, your clothes are dirty, whatever. We did have some stripping. We're the only ones at the top. No one can see us. And we just want to, you know, you want to be a little bit primal. You take off your clothes, you fold them up, you put them next to you. And then you're like doing doggy style or whatever it is, and one of you kicks out a leg, and there goes the clothes down the hole. And you have your caving gear, like your harness, that goes just around the waist, because you weren't wearing that before you got on rope. But your friends who are at the bottom are now yelling up like, y'all good? Were these your dry clothes you were saving for when you got out? And there are no extra clothes. I think the most embarrassed, and I'm like turning red now. I'm a redhead, I blush super easy. The most that I've been lobster red was not when I got a sunburn in Hawaii, but it was when I had to put on a cave harness, attach myself to a rope, and drop in like Mission Impossible style down a cave naked in front of my friends who did not know I was this type of person because I had no other clothes, and they're all just sitting there like arms crossed with our clothes covered in mud now because it's muddy and wet down there. And you know what? Having the harness across your like hooch, it's not flattering, guys. It's like when you have like your cute lacy underwear and you get like one hole in the lace and you're kind of poking out and it's not cute. It's that, okay? So I have friends now in Virginia who I have not had sex with, but they know my true self in a way that even the dude I was fucking has no idea what it looks like. So that is my brief story of my probably most embarrassing sex moment. All right, thank you guys so much.
This episode of FOREPLAY Goes South podcast was recorded and produced by event host and podcast creator Metanoia. These stories are recorded live every third Tuesday of the month at Petra's in Charlotte, North Carolina. For more information about FOREPLAY Goes South, follow us at FOREPLAY GS on Facebook, FetLife, Instagram, and Twitter.